All right, we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson back on the show. We have a big welterweight title fight coming up on Saturday, so I figure let's bring on the very last man to defeat Jorge Masvidal before this meteoric rise up to face Kamaru Usman this Saturday. Wonderboy, how are you, man? Good to see you.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Yeah, man. Just living life, bro. We got summertime. We got karate camps going on. So I'm up at 8 o'clock every morning. Don't get home till about 9:30 at night. So long days for me, and then, training and stuff in and around all that. So, but feeling good, man. Ready to rock and roll. Ready for this weekend for sure.
I heard we were texting back and forth earlier. There was a fierce Nerf battle going on. Is that accurate today?
That is accurate. Yeah, we had Nerf wars going on at the karate school today. We had about 70 kids bring the Nerf guns in. We put up obstacle courses. It was insane.
So how is everything in South Carolina overall right now? We were talking a little bit off air about how Massachusetts is looking with the restrictions being lifted and the process of getting back to normalcy, at least the best that we can. What's South Carolina like right now?
It's pretty much the same at this point. For the longest we were doing online classes. We were kind of stuck with that, kind of had to be a little, innovative with that. We have about 750 students and they were still wanting to train. They couldn't come in the gym. So we just kind of weaned off of that. Students are coming back into the gym. We got a 20,000 square foot facility, so we're allowed 120 people in the building. So, which is great. We added more classes in throughout the day to kind of thin the crowds out. So I'm more busy now than I was before all this. But everything's getting back to normal. I mean, everybody's ready to get back to where things were. Everybody's still, being cautious, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I'm just ready for things to get back to normal.
There's 750 students there?
Oh, yeah.
Good God.
Yeah,
man, that's
750
amazing.
students. Most of them are kids, man. We got them as young as 3. I think our oldest is in her 70s. Still training, man. Yeah,
awesome.
Never too old. Never too old.
That is amazing. So, as you know by now, Stephen, this is your division. Gilbert Burns was supposed to fight for the belt this Saturday, UFC 251. He's removed due to a positive COVID test, and it seemed like the UFC was just going to rebook this thing for August, maybe September. That, of course, wasn't the plan at all because discussions with Masvidal were already underway when we found out this news, and we know Masvidal is as game as they come, and he'll fight absolutely anybody. But with everything that's been happening with Masvidal talking about contracts, fighter pay, etc., a global freaking pandemic, were you surprised the UFC pulled this rabbit out of their hat at the 11th hour?
Was I surprised? No, man. Like I figured. You see Masvidal on social media. The guy's training. He was ready for something like this. He was ready for something like this. I kind of had a feeling that it was kind of something was going to go down, and Masvidal was going to have to step up and face him. But that's what they call him, game bred, man. The guy's ready at all times. Of course, everybody's saying it is a last minute thing, but the guy's been going through a training camp. He's in shape. He's confident. And that's a big thing going into a fight like this. It's confidence, and he's got a lot of it, especially after his last few fights. Knocked out Darren Till, Ben Askren, TKO'd Nate Diaz for the BMF belt. And I would rather see this fight than the Burns fight, to be honest. I think this is more exciting. There's more beef. I think everybody in the division except for me has beef with this guy. Leon Edwards. The 3-piece in Minnesota, of course, Colby Covington, Usman, they about duked it out at I forgot where it was. But,
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl. That's right. So the guy's got beef with everybody. But we have history, me and him. He's the BMF, I'm the NMF. We fought. That was his last loss. So I at this moment, especially after what he said in the Arohawani interview, how he would like to defend the title against me, I'm rooting for him to win. For him to win, obviously it would be a faster road to the title for me. Either way, I'm not giving up on it. It's going to be a scrappy fight for sure. Masvidal definitely has the advantage in the stand-up area. He's faced some really good guys in the division, good grapplers such as Damian Maia. And that was controversial. That was a controversial loss. I think Damian Maia had his back for a long period of time, but usually when Damian Maia takes your back, it's over. So he fended him off with the best grappler in the division. So he's been training with Bo Nichols, 3-time Division I All-American. So he's prepared, man. He's prepared himself. So I'm looking to see, hopefully, just a barn burner this Saturday between these two guys.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. And your fight with Masvidal, it was November 2017, Madison Square Garden, UFC 217. You get a unanimous decision. And let's be honest, Steven, the fight wasn't even really a close fight. Like, you won all 3 rounds. You even got a 10-8 round in the third from one of the judges. And while you were dominant, and you ended up breaking your thumbs in that fight as well, but Masvidal is a different kind of cat, no doubt about it. What were you able to take away from that fight and sharing the cage with a guy like Masvidal for 15 minutes like that?
Well, you're not going to break his spirit out there. Normally, you'll see guys fade, especially when they're getting pieced up. He's very good at taking damage. Like, after every fight, you don't really see Masvidal messed up. I don't think I've ever seen him with a cut. I've never seen a guy banged up. He takes damage very, very well, and you can't break his spirits out there. And that's the thing. That's going to be a big part in this fight. First 2 or 3 rounds, he may get taken down every round, but he's going to go out there with the same tenacity, the same intensity as he did the first round in the 5th round. And that's how Masvidal is. And he's got high-level striking. He's very good at adapting to opponents mid-fight, which is very rare. Most guys out there, even at the highest level, they don't go out there and try and figure their opponent out or make changes. They just stick to the game plan, But with high-level fighters, they're able to adapt mid-fight, and he can make those adjustments, which is a scary, makes for a scary fighter for sure. Now, Usman, on the other hand, he does one thing very, very well, and that's his wrestling. He's aggressive. He's got a gas tank for days, and he's very good at not winning from his game plan. He's a high level wrestler, obviously, MMA wrestler, I think. And is he going to stand there and bang like he did with Colby Covington? No, not a chance. If he does, then I would be very surprised. But normally when he fights guys like Masvidal, he's going straight for the takedown and just tries to lay on him, control him on the ground, maybe get a few shots in here and there. But it could be a boring fight, but he's good at it.
A win's a win. That's all it comes down to. Get that extra paycheck. Is that fight with Masvidal is your first fight in a year that wasn't with Tyron Woodley, so it was a little bit of a change of pace for you, change of style as well. Did anything really surprise you in the Masvidal fight? Because, you looked really good. You had to kind of overcome some adversity to keep on going and have the performance that you had with the injuries, but did anything from Masvidal surprise you at all?
Not at all. Not at all. He came first 2 rounds, kind of stood in front of me. I knew he had to knock me out in the 3rd, so I knew he was going to come out a little more aggressive. But nothing really surprised me. Everything we prepared for in the gym, he did exactly what we thought he was going to do. I know when he's getting pieced up, he'll shoot every now and then. I think he tried to take me down, or maybe once or twice, or acted like it. I don't see him doing that to Usman. He's going to try and keep the fight standing. But, I fight high-level guys, strikers, on a daily basis, at our gym. I bring guys in. I go up to Law MMA, train with Chris Weidman, especially when it comes to the wrestling and striking. I got, guys in my gym, Carl Reed, John Sweeney, my brothers who are very good strikers as well. You don't really see a whole lot of new stuff when you're used to sparring guys like this, on a daily basis. So nothing really surprised me. Just the fact that, his attitude during the whole fight was the same. He's going to try and rip your head off. And most people, when you're out there and they're getting dominated, they're getting beat, you see them, that their confidence level drop, slowly but surely. He wasn't that way, and that means you got to be on point at every second during the fight when you fight this guy, because anything can happen. And I think now, seeing his last few fights, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. He does more. He does things that you just wouldn't expect him to do, and I think that's why he's landing these shots. When he knocked out Darren Till, that left hand came out of nowhere. Of course, the flying knee heard around the world. That nobody saw that coming. You know what I mean? He's a smart guy. So not only does he have confidence, he's got good striking, and now he's throwing things that you just don't see coming, and that's hard to prepare for sure.
And now he's got this newfound superstardom surrounding him as well. Like, you know, you mentioned the Till and the Diaz wins, and of course the 5-second knockout of Ben Askren. I mean, he had, after taking an entire year off after your fight, he had one of the most impactful years in the history of the sport.
Ever.
Like, as a fighter and as a guy who watches all the fights, you're a fan as well, to watch what Masvidal did last year to break through after all these years in the sport. I mean, he's been fighting since 2003, and to become one of the biggest stars in the sport. What has that been like for you?
I think that's awesome. That's inspirational to me. I love that. I love to see a guy like that. And not a whole lot of people love to give you know, praise to a guy like that, but he deserves it 100%. You know, and it gives me confidence knowing that I was his last lost. Now he's ranked higher than me. Now he's one of the most popular guys in the UFC. He's got 49 fights and finally gets a title shot. You know, he deserves every bit of it. And he's not a fake guy. You know, what you get is what you get with him. A lot of guys in the division, especially my division, you see them talking crap and it's just fake. You know, I think you know who I'm talking about, Colby Covington. But yeah, what you get, he's like Diaz. You know, that's him, and I can appreciate that. You know, I respect that. He doesn't change for anybody, and I think that's cool. I think he deserves every bit of it. It's inspirational, man. I know that. Hey, maybe with a few good fights with me, you know, I can get there. You know, so I think it's great.
It seemed to me like with Masvidal back then, he would fight because, you know, he's a fighter, but it seemed like in a way he almost like fell out of love with the sport and like everything that was attached to it. Like he took that time, went on that reality show, and then that wall sort of came down for him. He began to see things very clearly, and martial arts has been a part of your entire life. You talked about how it's been through your family, your brothers, so forth and so on, your dad. But being in the sport with the swings of it all, has there ever been a point like in your career where you were like, why am I doing this? I'm just not in it anymore.
And for me, I was kind of blessed when it actually happened. I've been fighting since I was 15 years old. I had my first full contact fight. In the kickboxing world, it was, you know, you fight very consistently almost every weekend. There's always a kickboxing tournament going on. We were traveling all over the world competing. And it got to the point where I was just tired of it. I was burnt out. And I really didn't know how to tell my dad. You know, he's been with me every step of the way, and I didn't want to disappoint him. And I was fighting in the World Combat League at the time, fighting a guy named Raymond Daniels, and I ended up tearing every ligament in my left leg. And like I said, it happened at a great time because I was out for 3 years, you know, with the knee injury and had to have several surgeries on it. It kind of rekindled that flame. And I think a lot had to do with my doctor telling me I would never fight again. That's what he told me, you know? And, you know, when people tell me that I can't do things, it kind of pisses me off a little bit, you know? Yeah, I get pissed off, guys.
Wow.
From time to time.
I can't believe I heard that word come out of your mouth.
Certain things, but yeah, man, it kind of rekindled that flame. And I didn't have to, thank goodness I didn't have to tell my dad I didn't want to do it, you know, because I had rekindled that flame. I was training with new people, training with high level guys like GSP. And, you know, they were kind of my inspiration to switch from kickboxing to MMA. And man, I've been great ever since. I've been in love with the game, in love with the you know, I guess the competition since then. Right. And of course you got your ups and your downs, but then it also plays, you have to keep a good circle of people around you to keep you focused, to keep that flame going as well. And I got a great team around me.
And I think your approach to the game helps with that as well. Cause like, you know, you are a fighter, you're in the UFC, you're in the biggest MMA promotion in the world, but like, you don't have to do this. Like you do it for you. Like, this is just fun for you, right?
Yeah. For me, you know, the money's a bonus. The money's just a bonus. I just love to compete. Of course, it gets to the point where it's like, you know, you get all the emotions when it comes into camp. You know, the stressful moments during camp. You get nervous before the fight, and you do sometimes ask yourself, like, what the heck? Why am I doing this, man? You know, right before you walk out. But then after every fight, either your hands are raised or they're not, you realize, man, this is why I'm doing it, man. You know, just to hear the love of the crowd, the competitiveness of the sport, of our sport. And it's not like any other sport. It's not like baseball or hockey or basketball when you can hide yourself or, you know, in the team It's just you and your opponent. There's no hiding in this sport, you know? My brother Tony played college football, and he, competed after it, and he said there's nothing like it. I would get nervous before a football game, but there's nothing like just you and one other guy and everybody watching, all the eyes on you. And it's that adrenaline rush that you get. And I think that's why you see a lot of these guys that retire, they can't stay retired. They miss it too much, So that's why I want to do this as long as my body will let me. So that way, whenever I do retire at the age of 60, I'll have no regrets,
Does your dad know that story now that you were almost done?
Oh yeah. At that time, he knows it now. And, of course, he gives me the dad talk. Listen, man, if you don't ever want to do this again, now it's more frequent, after a fight or before camp. Hey man, I don't want you feeling like you got to do this for me. If you're in love with it, let's do it. If not, no worries, man. I still love you. So, Pop's just being Pops, but he knows now for sure.
That's amazing. Couple more things before I let you go. I appreciate
Yes,
the
sir.
time today. I know you're not like a big prediction guy. You're not, you'll be rooting. You're publicly just said you're rooting for Masvidal just because of what he said. But let's just say analytics perspective. Do you have an official Wonder Boy lean here on Saturday night?
Usman. I find Usman, he's the bigger opponent. He's the stronger opponent. Masvidal was eating a pizza, I think, on the flight this week, on the way from what I saw on Instagram, on the way to the venue. So, he was naturally a 155er, but just the pressure of Usman and the relentlessness of Usman is going to be very difficult to deal with. He's very hard to stray from his game plan. He sticks to it, right? And he's got this grind about him that's just unbeatable in this division, which is why he's champion. And you see him do this to opponent after opponent after opponent. So I'm leaning towards Usman, but I want Masvidal to win, if that's fair to say.
Professionally, you want Masvidal to win.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have. How can you not say that? The guy said your name in an interview that like almost 1 million people have watched. Of course, you're gonna want him to win.
And the way he's been finishing dudes, man, you never know. Like on paper, Askren wins every time, right? But you saw what happens. Nobody thought that in 1 million years would he pull that off in 5 seconds. So he's, could happen this time. You never know.
I think Masvidal's like takedown defense game supremely underrated.
Oh, 100%. I think he's got it's like 85%. I think his takedown defense is like 85%. And man, it's very, very, very good. Like I said, when you can fend off Damian Maia in back position and not get submitted, your ground game is very underestimated for sure. Underrated.
So you'll be watching on Saturday night. Let's talk about you briefly before we let you go. How's is that itch coming back right now? Are we talking about it?
We're not talking about it. We don't know who yet. I'm ranked number 6. Got pushed back after the Tyron Woodley and Gilbert Burns fight. Still looking to fight for the title. Don't know who yet, because there was a lot of guys in the top 5 that had fights. Obviously Tyron, obviously Burns. Leon Edwards has got some, I guess, personal things going on up in where he's at, which is why I think they came to him to fight him first
Yep.
And he just couldn't do it. So not really sure what's going on there. But keeping my fingers crossed for this fight. Hopefully Masvidal wins. We'll get a fight here pretty soon. If I got to fight one more guy before that, so be it. But I'm looking ahead. My last guy that I fought, I think it was, Luke. He was either ranked 12th or 14th. I'm not looking to fight a guy back there at this point, in my career. I'm not getting any younger. So I got a small window. Can I do what I want to do with where I'm going? And that's towards the title.
I spoke with Leon right before I talked to you. He's saying August, September he wants to come back. So maybe, maybe. You
never know.
Especially if Masvidal wins, he can have a little something here.
I know it. Leon Edwards is a scary guy, man. He's very good everywhere. He's improving his ground game tremendously. So that would be an exciting fight for sure.
Absolutely. You're the man, Steven. I know we got Nerf battles to prepare for. You gotta show these kids who's boss at Upstate Karate, man.
Yeah, that's right. No mercy with these kids. No mercy. Well, always a pleasure talking with you, my friend.
Absolutely. I think you brighten all of our spirits as always. And it's you know, it was fascinating to get your insight on this big fight on Saturday night. Thanks again. We'll definitely talk soon, man.
Anytime, brother. You have a good one.